Hello YouTube, and welcome to a new Unity 3D Space tutorial. So what we're going to do in this tutorial is carry on with our Fuel Scoop GUI, because I've got some changes I want to implement to it. And then what we're also going to do is actually make, hopefully, it active. If not, that'll be in the next tutorial. But it should be really cool. So the first thing I want to do is implement a new icon to it. So at the moment, if you go to your GUI scripts, you'll see that we have two icons, which are not there. We have a black one and a red one. Fuel Scoop red. But I've also implemented a blue one now. So what I'm wanting to hope is whenever you're not in the zone, it's going to be a black fuel cell. But then when you're in the zone, it's a red button, like you can click me now, click me kind of thing. But then when you actually clicked it, it'll go blue. So this is active. So you click it again, it goes red. So that should work. And that other one you just saw is the message, because when your Fuel Scoop is active, I wanted to disable the weapons. Kind of like you have to put more power to one thing. So, first thing we're going to do, like I said before, is we're going to implement this new icon, so when it's active and when it's not, Then after that, we've got to work with the F key and pressing the buttons, so make sure one of them changes both at the same time, otherwise we'll get an error there. And it can get confusing when you get deeper into it, but if you take it step by step, we'll get there. So I'm going to start by going to our GUI scripts and open up on-screen actions. So first thing we're going to do is create a variable to house all the textures. So instead of creating another fourth variable, we're going to have like, no, I don't want to update yet. So right here, fuel scooping, I'm going to put it down and type var fuel textures, and it will be a texture 2D array equals a new texture 2D 4. Reason it's 4, we've got our current one, we've got a black, red and blue. So I'll just type it here so we know. Current, black, red and blue. Like that. Yep, so I can go through all these. So whenever we type in the first one, so we need fuel texture 0. So if you come down to here, Fuel Scoop texture is number 0. So wherever it says that, we need to replace it with that. There and there. Perfect. Wherever it says fuel button non-clicked, that will be red, because the script is active, meaning we are in the zone, but it needs to be like that. And then this one, clicked, is 3. Yep, for the blue one. So that should work perfectly. So it activates it, doesn't activate it. So what we need to do now is set it so when we're not in the zone, it's black. Easy enough. So I'm going to go to collisions, and on trigger exit here, we need to set it to be black. So, space atmosphere fuel scoop. So right below here, we'll duplicate this, and we'll type gameObject.find, and it's GUI scripts, underscore scripts, and we'll type get component on screen actions dot fuel texture 0 equals, this is going to be a long piece of code, but yeah, so it needs to be black. So over here we'll type, which one is it? Fuel textures black is 1. So when we exit it should be black. Easy enough. The last thing what we have to do, we could create a variable for that, but it's just one extra line. It's only a one long line, so I'm just not going to. So we need to make it so when we enter the trigger it starts it. So if we find here, because if we put it in here, then it's constantly going to be setting it red and we'll have no choice in it. So we can code against it with an if statement, so we'll do that instead. So what I'm going to do is go to where we need to actually turn it, the colour here, and we'll type if, ouch, that's quite long. If gameObject.full on-screen actions.fuel texture 0 does not equal, and we paste it again, and we basically saying if it doesn't equal blue, so it would be 3. So if it doesn't equal blue, meaning it's not active, then we'll change it to red. So by default it's not going to equal blue, so then we'll change it to red, which is 2. Perfect. Otherwise it'll leave it alone, so then we can keep it active, hopefully. So that should be it pretty much. So we can go back and we can just walk up to it, it should turn it red, and then we should work fine. However, one thing I have forgot to do is actually add the textures, which is kind of important. So for the first one, make sure it's where it should be defaultly. So if you defaultly stuck in an atmosphere, make it red or whatever, but both mine is going to be black because he's not there. So, boom. Perfect. So now we try it, then we fly up to the atmosphere. I've also sped up our character so he goes a lot faster, because we'll be there forever. So you should see we walk up to it, it'll be black for the entire time, we can't do anything, and it'll turn red, then we can click it and we should work. And then it goes red, you click it, and it goes blue. Warning, fuel scoop active, clicked again, it goes off. Perfect. We've just got to fly out to make sure it works. And it's blue. We can't click it no more. Perfect. We have a working thing. It switches really well. So now what we're going to work on is the actual clicky buttons. So if we click the button up the top, it'll change the icons, it worked fine. But if we press the F button, we need it to also play with the icons. So basically, with the button, let's break it down. So F and the button don't need to do anything while it's black. We know that. But when it's red, it needs to be active clickable. So we click it on the button, it should go blue if it's red. And if we press F, it should go blue. So let's do that first. So I'm going to go to our MISC scripts, turn on fuel scoop here. And right here, I'm going to go back to our on-screen actions, and I'm going to select the one where it changed, not on-screen actions, collisions, and I'm going to get the code what changes the texture. It sets this one to number 2. So perfect, so where's that gone? There. So this one will change it to red. So we'll work on that one first. So when we click it and it's on, it turns it off. So right here, if it's active equals true and we press F again, it makes it false and it changes the texture to red. Perfect. But if it's active and it's true and we press it, then it should make it blue, which is 3. And that's it. We've done. You fly all the way up and it should do it. So let's try it. So it's red, we press F, it's blue, press F again, press F, press off. Perfect. Perfect, it works 100%. So, now that what we've got to do is actually make it work. And this can be difficult in which way you do it, but I think the way we're going to do it will be relatively easy. So if fuel scoop is active here, then we need to begin collecting it. So what we first need to do before we actually begin coding it is actually develop the icon. We need the item. We need an item in order to store and collect. And what we're going to do is simply add a timer. When the timer runs out, you gain 1 fuel tank. That's simple. So we're going to go. This is how easy it is to add an icon. First you need a texture, because you need one. So I've gone to resources and I've got energy tank here, which I will put in the description. I hope it doesn't have a background either, but if it does, hey, change it. But then we're going to use that one. So I'm going to go back to our MISC scripts and find out item stats here. I'm going to add a new one to it, so 7. Boom. And I'm going to rename it to energy. Now this is, I didn't call it energy tank, I mean fuel tank or anything, because you're technically collecting energy or solar rays, which is not really. I didn't know what to call it, so I called it energy tank. It's actually just a propane tank, so okay. Buy price, we'll say 200. It's quite expensive because you nearly die, and you can sell it for 100, so you get quite a good profit off it. That will set 250, not 1000. Unity, stop messing up. There we go. And the icon will simply be 6 energy tank, and we are simply going to add the energy tank is used for great profit or to fuel a ship. So let's hope that does, because Unity's messing up and I can't see what I'm writing. But hey. So we've added that. Now that's actually officially created the item. So we need to make a 3D item kind of thing, because we've got it. So in fact we don't even need to create it 3D. We will create it in 3D eventually when we want it, but we don't need it now because we're going to script it straight into our inventory, so it works a lot easier. So we've created the item, it works perfect. All what's left is to actually add it, pretty much. Then we're done. So we've got everything we need on character. So we have inventory add there and inventory GUI. So if we go to our collision script and go to up the top right here where it adds it, so items, and then we have items there. We have weapons, so it adds everything we need, but we need the items one, so we can copy it. In fact, we can copy all this. Yep, that'll do. we'll go back to our fuel scoop and we'll just paste it in here. So if it's active at the moment, you're going to get 11111. It's going to just boost you up. So we'll set the ID to 6. And don't worry, I have developed a better way to do this, but we'll not do it yet. We don't need to destroy anything because we just added it straight. And is it a weapon? False, it's not, so it'll add 6 and it'll increase our amount by 1. Perfect. So let's begin with the timer. So down here we'll type private. In fact, we'll just leave it as a var for test now, but we will eventually make it private. So we'll just go here and get rid of it. Var timer int equals 100. Well, I'll say 100's good. You'll eventually be able to get upgrades to decrease it, but not yet. So we can type this in here, and we'll type timer minus equals, well, I'll just put minus minus. And if timer is less than 2, which it is, then add it to your inventory. But we also need to set timer equals 100 again. We'll eventually add that to our alarm class and everything, but not yet. So it'll come down if it's active, tick, 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 tick. It'll keep activating it, pretty much. And if we press F, what we're going to do is, when we press F, we need to actually make the timer reset itself, because if you, at the moment, you wait till it gets to, say, 2, you go out of the atmosphere, or disable it, then come back and it'll carry on from 2, so it's not fair. So just here, we'll type else, and then we'll just put timer equals 100. So when you leave the atmosphere, the timer, it's not going to be active, it'll run down quickly and say the timer isn't active, reset. Perfect. So we go back, we know our inventory already works because we can collect nuclear stuff, so we click it, and we go in, and we should work. It does not understand the textures because I haven't assigned it. 27. There. So instead of textures, we'll type in game object dot find misc scripts dot get component bracket, what's it called, item stats, I believe it is. I have to check that in a minute. Dot items dot player amount. Perfect. Adding new item, we need to also specify that one. So game object dot find character dot get component adding new, in fact, inventory add item dot new item false. So that'll work. So we click play, and then we should be able to fly straight up and begin collecting things. So I've got our inventory here, which we need to disable mouse movement when we do that. Okay, so we fly towards, I've sped it up even more, so we read, we click it, and you'll see the timer ticks down, and we gain 1. Perfect, look at that, we're gaining fuel. Energy tank, we could go and eventually sell this, so tick, tick. Right, that's it, I'm nearly dead apparently. So we stop it, and it stops, it resets the timer, we fly out. There we go, so we're clean and safe, we're far away. Press I, we've collected 7 energy tanks. Fuel scooping. Genius. So we've done it. Oh, look at that sun. So we are nowhere near a planet, so we are not going to carry on. But that's what we've done so far. Obviously there are a few minor bugs in it, I can't think of any at the moment, but hey, that fuel tank scoop looks really good, the fuel tank, I think it looks awesome. We've done really well doing it. Good job everybody, and I'll see you next time. Please join my Facebook group, you get daily updates and I post random things there. So, see you next time.